Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for January 10th, Friday, January 10th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. That was Luce. She joined me for a minute, blessed you with some purrs. And our energy mantra for today is I nurture my purpose. So, I was hoping she was going to stay and give us some more purrs. But, you've been blessed by the Luce. Luce means light in Italian. And the little Taurus Scorpio thought that we all could use a little light. So, that was a blessing. It's rare that she's like, hey, I'm going to jump on your lap. So, I thought I could get away with working. But she was like, not having this. Off to bed. Inspiration. She's an inspiration. So today I want to talk about Friday's Astro, but I also want to dig into this nodal shift that's coming in on Saturday, 1/11. When I saw that the nodes were shifting on January 11th, 1/11, I was like, ooh, this feels divine. We have some divine winks happening for us this year. And this is one of our divine winks that's reminding us that the divine, God, spirit, universe, and us too, there's a plan and it's unfolding. And the best thing we can do is be our best and highest selves to unfold with this plan. And I like to remind us because I do think some characters in the world go off book and try to create their own storylines. But I remind you that God, Spirit, Universe can take the nefarious and use it for good. And I think it's really important that we remember this. And I think it's really important to remember God, Spirit, Universe is a part of all of this unfolding as the North Node prepares to move into Pisces. So let's look at today's Astro and then we'll look at the nodal shift. Today we have the moon in Gemini doing the most, as it might. Moon in Gemini can help us make connections, whether it's making connections in our mind, it can be making connections outside of ourselves. And so we're making some connections today. Our first connection is with Venus. We have a Venus square, Venus in Pisces, squaring the moon in Gemini. And I think that this might be the challenge right now of wanting to be human and connect with people we love and our friends. And also the feeling of overwhelm right now with everything that's unfolding and the Mars retrograde and needing rest and wanting to take care of ourselves so deeply. So just watch if you're feeling conflicted and try to honor your own sense of flow, your own sense of unfolding. If you can make those connections, make those connections. And if you can't, honor the rest, honor the space that you need. Moon in Gemini and Jupiter in Gemini will have a conjunction in the afternoon. We still have Jupiter retrograde, but you may see little sparks of light, little sparks of luce, little sparks of light pop up for you, little synchronicities come forward for you. Be watchful. That's part of Gemini energy. There's two layers of it. One is listening and being aware, being watchful. But the other is knowing that even when you think you're not, the Gemini energy is always connecting into everything. I'm a Gemini rising, and when I'm in anything, I feel everything that's happening all at once. You see it happening, and my brain's trying to process everything that's happening, and can feel kind of overwhelming. So especially as the moon and Jupiter connect, watch for feeling that overwhelm, but also see what's pulling your notice, see what's pulling your attention. If there is, what is in there for you? Get curious. Gemini energy can be very curious. Our final connection is another Moon Pisces or Gemini Pisces connection. It's the moon connecting to Saturn. Now Saturn aligns with the energy of purpose, right? Saturn in Pisces reminds us that it's all purposeful. The good, the bad, the ugly, it's all purposeful. And we can take any of it and use it for God. We can take any of it and use it for good. And that's part of our purpose, is seeing, again, where can we take the good, the bad, the ugly, and utilize it in our lives and recognize, again, it's all good, it's all God, it's all purposeful. And sometimes it's hard to say that when it doesn't feel all good. But I think we don't want to leave the God. I don't think we want to leave the good behind. I think we want to call it forth into everything and call the blessings into everything, because they are always available to us and they're always there. And I think in crazy times like these, when we are processing such deep stuff, that's one of the saving graces, one of the saving energies. So there we have that going on. Let's look at these cards for Friday. I pulled separate cards for the nodes. Although I feel like this is part of the nodes. We have the traveling card, and I feel like this is this ingress. Now, the nodes are interesting because they move backwards. So we're moving from Aries, the north node, from Aries into Pisces. Usually Aries would go towards Taurus, but with the nodes, we move back into Pisces. And we're going to have several planets moving back and forth between Aries, Pisces. So we're really working this death and birth bridge, Pisces being the final, maybe not necessarily death, but like spirit into human bridge. And human, remembering that it's spirit. That's kind of like the bridge going backwards. So we're traveling, and this card always reminds us to travel lightly. What are you carrying? Put down what you are carrying that's too heavy of a load, and maybe that you're not meant to carry. You know, we talk about with Capricorn energy, the energy of responsibility, but that means you get to respond in a way that's true for you. And there's some element of control in that, like saying, this is something that's for me, or this is not something for me. I can put this down. I think that this is also some layer of mental control. Well, I don't like the word control. I do feel like, again, no, these aren't the nodal cards. I feel like part of our work is going to be to realign our focus. And that does take some mental hijinks to be like, well, what are you doing in there, hamsters? What are you doing in there, monkeys? Like, no, my consciousness is what's going to be the driving force. Not the flying monkeys, not the hamsters, not anything else that's like, woo, going on in there, right? So, the control card. These two cards together, very true. We are the world and the intensity that we're feeling. But I'm going to hold with, God, our little animal beings. I feel like they're always in flow. Like the fact that Luce showed up, and here we are, like moving towards the light. And I think we have to remember that even even as fires and wars and all of these things in the world rage and pull at our hearts, we, the world, are moving towards the light. And the best way we can accelerate this and support this is engaging our own light and seeing where we need to turn it on and shine it. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? So here we are in this together. Our final card, love this, for this moon in Gemini, which can also bring that control card, and here, the Magician card, remembering how powerful your thoughts are. Remembering that as you think about something, you affect its very beingness. So, where can we think more light, more goodness? And this isn't about being delusional. It's not about seeing what's happening, but it's seeing where we can infuse the light and where we can find the good and where we can find the God. And I'm not saying, like, for somebody who just had their house burned down, be like, oh, this is good, this is God. People are not ready for that. Don't do that. But hold space for their experiencing of that in those energies, or anybody else going through a hard time, right? My hardest thing was when, Joe almost died, and a lot of good in it. I might not have been able to hear it in the throes of it, but later I could and did and saw it myself. So see where we can pull that energy forth. So nodes, 111, God winks. North node in Pisces, south node in Virgo. We want to lean into the north node. So we want to lean into the Pisces. Now, good thing we've had Neptune and Saturn already preparing us, and Venus at the current time, all preparing us for this. But there's a tendency to kind of fall into South Node patterns. The South Node is like the hole you keep falling into, the been there, done that. We want to learn from the hole. We want to learn from the been there, done that, but we want to do things in a different way. The North Node is our North Star. The North Node is our follow the yellow brick road. So in following the yellow brick road, we do want to align more with spirit. We want to align more with the mystical. We want to be doing work in the invisible, knowing that the work we do in the invisible does affect the visible, the Virgo, right? We want to lean into faith. We want to lean into God's spirit universe. We want to recognize ourselves as beyond human, as spiritual beings. And we want to engage that energy. We want to recognize that our daydream and our vision have profound effects on our life. And it's up to you to utilize these energies. Now, with Virgo, we may be tempted to fall into the critical. We might be tempted to really look at reality as the only reality. But Pisces is telling us, no, there's these etheric layers that have so much for us that we want to engage with, that we want to play in. Now, I do think we want to be really aware, because I think sometimes we focus so much on reality that even thinking about working on another realm can feel like too much. And I think that this can drive escapism, which is definitely a Pisces energy. We want to watch for where we're trying to escape, and instead bring the goodness, bring the magic into reality. But if you're finding yourself wanting to escape, check your perfectionism, check your focus, check where you're so attached to reality that you are missing God, the God, that you are missing spirit, and where we can repair those energies. I'm going to leave that there because I could keep going. But these cards that I have for this were perfect. So the first card that came out was the Lover's card. And there's a reason why I love Rumi during Venus in Pisces. And it's because God is good. God's spirit universe is good and is love. One of my favorite Rumi verses is, you are the soul of the universe, and your name is love. And so remembering love, Pisces is so compassionate, so empathetic. Remembering to bring forth love is going to be potent. But we do have the comparison card. So again, we might get sucked into the Virgo. Be aware of your inner critic. Be aware of your Virgo. Be aware where you think you need to be right. Be aware where you think you need to point out somebody's grammar or somebody's mistake. And I'm not saying that you can't, because sometimes mistakes pointed out are okay, but watch for the perfectionist and watch where you can't just move with the grace of good, move with the grace of light, move with the grace of love. Where that comparison card pops in. The creator card feels so potent in this because it's a reminder we are creators. We are divine. One of the things that Jesus says in the Bible, and I'm going to, memeize the quote, but all this and more that I do, you can do too. We have to remember that light. We have to remember that miracles are sometimes produced through us. Sometimes they are performed for us, right? Miracles show up, but sometimes they also move through us, and we get to help create these with our mind, with our prayers, with our vision, and with our deeds. And how are you being called to show up in this light, in this creator energy with North Node and Pisces? I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be a little bit of a whoa kind of energy, because we are going from cardinal and fire energy with the North Node into mutable water. So it's definitely might feel a little trippy. That's good. Move with it, go with it, flow with it, feel it, and see how it's moving you. I don't think I'm going to read this whole Rumi card, but I'm going to read the verse and I'm going to read the honoring ritual just to have a little bit of the Rumi. I pulled Blood Moon. And it says, in the midst of darkness, a moon appeared with its brilliance. Stepping down from the clouds, it glanced at me like a falcon that hunts a bird and steals it away. It captured me and flew back to infinite space. And as I looked for myself, I could not find me, for my body had become all soul in the tenderness of love. The 9 spheres of heaven dissolved in that moon as the ship of my existence drowned in the sea of love. How Pisces was that? So Pisces! The sacred honoring ritual says, Blood angel of unconditional life and divine love, bless me with life force. I need to attain my divine destiny. I open to your grace with perfect trust and perfect love. So be it. Close your eyes, notice your breath. Imagine or intend that you can sense the blood moving in your veins. So much life abounds in your body, soul. And when your time is up, when you're done, open your eyes and you completed the honoring ritual. I think that was enough. So, that's it for today. Happy nodal shifting. You can book a reading with me. Email me if you would like to dig into your astro, the year ahead astro, general reading, whatever. Besides all that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and remember who you are, for you are the solution. Namaste.